business community. Welcome back to my Trade podcast series, A Couple With, and today I'm joined by a very important person in sustainability. His name is Martin Rich, the co-founder and executive director of Future Fit. Yeah, and you have about 2 decades of experience being a sustainable expert, and you yourself, you're an investment specialist in both mainstream and impact investment.
Yes.
Right? Okay, so Martin, thanks so much for joining us.
You're very welcome.
So can you tell us a little bit what brings you to Malaysia?
Absolutely. So I'm in the region for 2 weeks. I'm here primarily for the Sustainable Brands Conference here in Kuala Lumpur. But also I'm very, very interested to try and understand where sustainability is within the business community here. How are you addressing the issues? And obviously coming from Future Fit, very, very interested to see how Future Fit will fit within the community. We think we have an incredibly powerful tool that can really help businesses here to embrace and adopt sustainability. So trying to find the community, meet people like yourselves, hopefully encourage some of the community here and see what's going on and seeing how we can play a role within that.
Yeah, so just to give an overview about what Future Fit is all about, it's basically a platform that provides a benchmark.
Right.
Can you maybe explain a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So we tend to describe it as a strategic management tool. So what we found was that there are many companies for quite some time now have been looking at sustainability as a concept. And everybody knows that we're facing a lot of environmental issues and a lot of social issues, and they're saying, well, what can I do about that? What do I need to do? And people are doing various things, trying to reduce carbon emissions and things like that, all of which is good. But as people have dug deeper in, they've said, where am I really going? Where is my journey taking me to? What's the destination I need to get to? And what we realized at Future Fit was there was no clear roadmap that showed you where do you need to get to? Where as a business is what's enough? Where am I heading? So whether I'm a global multinational or I'm an SME, what's enough? Where do I need to go? So Future Fit is a toolkit, a framework that shows you where you need to be going to. So for the 6 years that we've existed, we've created this roadmap. It's all built on system science. There's a very, very rigorous underpinning. And you don't need to understand all of that. We've worked with experts around the world to simplify the planetary boundaries and the social boundaries into actions to show you what you actually need to do. So things like zero greenhouse gas emissions from your operations or from your products. Everybody being paid at least a living wage. The right tax being paid in the right place at the right time, one of the less popular goals. Making sure that all of that is very clear and simple, and then providing detailed guidance as to how you understand what that really means, and therefore how you get there from where you are today. That's what the framework is.
So Future Fit basically provides a platform for you to quantify, to measure your efforts. So, and Martin, for next quarter, because Malaysia is a proponent of external trade, we are very competitive in trading, but a lot of exporters in Malaysia, they may have very little knowledge about sustainability. So for an exporter that they don't know where to start, what would be your advice?
So I think a couple of things. Firstly, I think we all have to recognise that sustainability, again, as a starting point, is becoming an incredibly important issue for all companies around the world, whether you are an exporter or an importer. These things now matter, and companies are more and more being asked around the world to show what are they doing around these issues, whether that's about the footprint of the actual products themselves or the labour standards and things like that that come associated with them. People are having to be more and more transparent and clear about how they are addressing these issues. And we are seeing that literally every country around the world now. So as an exporter, and as a country that you say is very, very a critical part of your economy, then you are needing to be able to show those who are buying your goods and services, that you are taking these issues seriously. So what Future Fit's trying to do is give companies a framework to prove that they are taking these issues seriously, that they're addressing them. Not that they're perfect today, but rather that they are going on a journey to get themselves to the right place, to be able to get that information assured by international audit companies, and to then be able to go to their clients and say, look, here is the proof that we are doing these things. And the framework itself breaks down into a series of goals and objectives. It's ultimately up to the company to decide where they want to start. But as with any journey, there will be easy targets, things that you could do very, very quickly. There will be some targets that will be medium term. We could perhaps get there with enough time and investment. And there may well be some targets that will be viewed as almost impossible today using your current business model. And again, that's okay. It's about recognizing those challenges and saying, okay, well, we're going to start thinking about how we address those. Even if we can't solve the problem today, we know that one day we have to.
It's about taking that step towards correcting something.
Exactly. It's about being on a journey. And we often describe the benchmark as like a GPS, a sat-nav. So, that's the end destination. But only when you know where you're going do you know how to prepare. What do you need to take with you for the journey? What's the right vehicle for that journey?
But Martin, in the effort of socializing sustainability and also mainstreaming it, a lot of people think that it's very confined to being eco-friendly, no straws, no gardens,
Sure.
So, can you just maybe correct this misconception and give people a simplified meaning of what sustainability is all about for businesses?
I think there we have to recognise that the world is changing. Environmental issues are now critical. We have exceeded the planetary boundaries so much in so many different areas. We can no longer ignore this. So the environment is changing. Society and the expectations of society are changing. Just look at the political landscape around the world and all the different challenges that many different nations are facing. Society is changing. On top of that, the rate of change of technology is quicker and quicker than we have ever known. It's crazy. All of these factors are affecting your business. Whatever business you are in different ways, those things are hitting you now, and they're going to hit you even more in the future. So you have two responses to that. One is you just bury your head in the sand and you pretend it's not going to happen. Well, history is filled with examples of companies that did that. Kodak is the classic one that everybody always points to. So these changes are coming. You can bury your head in the sand, or you can say we recognise that we have to adapt, we have to change, whether for moral and ethical reasons, because you think that's the right thing to do, or simply for financial benefit. You have to change the way you're doing things so that you have taken these shifts into account. You've understood the risks and the opportunities that lie within that, and then begin to figure out how you address those so that you can continue to flourish as a business. So rather than this just being about greenwashing, getting rid of straws or recycling your paper, and there's a place for those things, this is about making your business truly sustainable in the sense of, yes, environmentally and socially sustainable, but also that it can keep going, what sustainability means, that you flourish financially and all of these other ways for as long as is possible.
And it's really about looking back at the supply chain and whether everyone who's involved in the supply chain are responsible enough, So I think a lot of companies, they may overlook this.
For sure.
Like you mentioned earlier, we don't really know our full list of suppliers,
Right. So again, for Future Fit, it's about the whole of the product or the service through its entire life cycle. So right from raw materials through to the materials that you bring in to put together into your products, or how you bring your services together, what they are then doing, and where appropriate, how are they recycled at end of use. Either recycled or repurposed or brought back and put back through the system, whatever it is. So within that, all of the supply chain, the operations, the use phase, and the post-use phase, we need to be considering all of those factors. Now again, it can be very, very complicated to understand all of that piece. One thing that we define very clearly is, where are your areas of responsibility? What are you, what we say, mutually accountable for with others? What are you wholly accountable for on your own? And what are you not accountable for? And actually companies quite like that clear definition as well, because there's some stuff that you're not responsible for, and that's okay. It's about, what are you actually accountable for, and what are you doing about that? And again, that supply chain piece, in the context of Malaysia as a big exporter, well, you are the supply chain for many other companies around the world who are now wanting to understand their supply chain. Our vision is that you will get to a place one day where you're supplying, along with effectively a certificate, if you like, of your fitness as a company and the products and goods that you are providing. If we achieve our objective of Future Fit becoming a globally accepted method of understanding what sustainability really means, once everybody starts to measure and be able to report on that, then it just becomes a system that self-feeds.
So basically, what you mean when you measure and you know where you are. So it's not about revising the whole system with what you've already done, but really adding value.
Absolutely.
So I think a lot of companies, they're very careful because this is another
it's another reporting system, it's another questionnaire. Absolutely. And we are certainly not trying to saddle companies with yet another thing. We hear all the time people with that complaint. But rather, what we're trying to do is to give them this framework to make decisions and to plan that journey and to then talk about that journey. So rather than it becoming a questionnaire where somebody sends you a questionnaire and you look at the questions, you think, well, I don't even have this information. Why would I have this information? Why is it helpful? You're talking about the journey that you are going on. You've made those decisions in the business. Your R&D teams are using this information to plan what they're doing. Your packaging people, your marketing people, whatever it is, all these different businesses, they're already doing that. So now all you're doing is collating the information that you've already got, putting it into some format that people can understand, and saying, here's what we've committed to. And by the way, here's where we're planning on being in the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it may be. That's very different to another burdensome questionnaire where I've got to answer all of these additional questions. No, tell us about the journey that you're on to transform your business into being a truly sustainable one.
And it's not really about, a lot of people think that, you got to put in extra money to do all this.
Right.
Is that really entirely accurate, or?
If you're transforming a business, it costs money. But you do that every day. Businesses are constantly spending money on R&D, on new products, on new marketing, whatever it is. What we're saying is, carry on doing that, but design your products and services in a way that make them truly sustainable, make them truly future fit. So it becomes embedded. So it's not an additional cost in that sense. It's spending the money you were going to spend, but in a better way.
So, Martin, what do you think about Malaysia being a sustainable trading nation? What are the benefits you think the nation can enjoy by being more sustainable?
I think it's a huge opportunity. Right now, I don't think, certainly from where I'm sat, I don't see any single country in this region leading above and beyond others particularly. Different nations have different strengths. But I think the opportunity for Malaysia to really grab hold of that and to say, we are going to be the most sustainable nation, the most sustainable exporter to the rest of the world, I think it's an incredibly powerful advantage. I mean, A, it makes you more sustainable, which, as we've already said, is a good thing, both environmentally and socially, but also because of the longevity. But also, as more and more purchasers of your goods and services look in and say, well, we're going to choose yes on quality, yes on price, but also on sustainability. If you can show strong leadership there, then that puts you streets ahead. So I think the opportunity is massive for you, absolutely massive.
And Jenny, it's okay, we just extend a bit more. Yeah, so then we can just edit it. And okay. So Martin, can you share with, is there any other country that has executed a good model that maybe Malaysia can emulate or learn from?
For exporting, I'm not so sure that I'm aware of any specific leaders in that regard around the world. When it comes to future fitness, we're seeing a couple of nations there particularly leading. For us, Denmark, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada, outside of the UK, are absolute leaders in that regard. But again, I think this is quite a fertile area for many countries to dive into, and again, therefore, for Malaysia to take a lead and show the rest of the world what they should be doing.
Especially for ASEAN.
Absolutely.
And last question, Martin. Okay, let's talk about. A lot of companies or exporters, they might not be able to relate because some may be thinking that, I'm going to outlive the future that you're going to see the total impact. So what would be your advice to get the optimism going?
I think the optimism has to be looked at in the face of the pessimism of the scenario that we're facing, right? These are quite simply existential times for humanity. We have pushed the envelope so far, and people have to realise just how bad things are going to get. I've seen in the press the smog and everything that you guys have been facing in this region for the last couple of weeks seems to have gone now, thankfully. But just little things like that. But then you look at all the changing weather patterns, more rain, less rain, more droughts, more floods, everything, right? All of those are massively disruptive, and it's only going to get worse unless we change tack. So it's very easy to get incredibly pessimistic and say we are all doomed. You have to recognise if we don't change track, we are. But there is, I believe, still time to change course, and we know what that looks like. We have things like the Sustainable Development Goals. We have frameworks like Future Fit, all of which are pointing towards a very different but flourishing and sustainable future. So we can do these things. The question is, do we want to do them? To my way of thinking, it's a no-brainer. We have to if we want to survive as a species. So for anybody who thinks, I can't make any difference, I'm too small, well, if everybody takes that view, we're not going to change. We all know that if we all start to move in that direction and we encourage each other to do it, then actually we can avoid certainly the worst extremes of climate change and social unrest, and hopefully we can move things back to a much more flourishing future. So every day I have to wake up and re-find that optimism. So I hope everybody who's listening to this can get some of that enthusiasm, that optimism, saying, I can make a difference with my business, I'm going to. In which case, obviously, start taking this stuff seriously, take a look at the Future Fit work, talk to you guys, and together let's make a difference.
Yes, let's keep that going.
Absolutely.
Okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's the time that we have for today's this episode. And thanks so much, Martin. Really appreciate you. Anything, just reach out to us via our social media platform.